All right, good evening. This is the September 16th, 2020 Cottage Grove City Council meeting, which I'm calling to order. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I will read a quick statement. Because of the reduced capacity of our council chambers and due to the state's distancing requirements, and recognizing that some residents will be more comfortable attending the meeting virtually, we are providing for public input via Zoom. You can go to our webpage at cottagegrovemn.gov, click on the public meeting quick links box, and then the link to the September 16, 2020 meeting for the various options if you would like to speak during open forum or for any regular agenda items. We want to be transparent, accessible, and inclusive, and we will hope these measures will help accommodate everyone who wishes to participate in our open and public meetings. So with that, the next item on our agenda after reading that is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, will the clerk please do the roll?
Councilmember Mills.
Here.
Councilmember Dennis.
Here.
Councilmember Thiede.
Here.
Councilmember Olson.
Here.
Mayor Bailey.
Here. Next item on our agenda is open forum. This is the opportunity where either online or in person, you can speak before the council. We did have a sign-up sheet out in the entryway, and we did have one gentleman that did sign up out there, so we'll start with him. It's Gene Matter, 1133 Marshall Avenue in St. Paul Park, regarding poor EMS service. Yeah, do you want to just go right up here, please?
Well, in May, I had given blood, and about a day and a half later, I fainted in the morning. My wife was very concerned. I drove myself to the fire station up on 80th about 11 o'clock that morning, and they did an EKG on me. And I don't know if anybody's ever had an EKG, but I did not remove my shirt. They put their hands up and put the probes on, and I'm kind of hairy, and they weren't sticking. And he says, press them on. I says, you know, I don't know. Have you had one, Mayor?
An EKG, yes.
Yeah. Have you always taken your shirt off?
Yes.
Well, they did not. And that's what, I mean, to me, that procedure was a bunch of crap. And of course, the readings were, let's see, this is the letter I got back. States, EKG in the chart states, data quality prohibits interpretation as part of the computer interpretation, which likely indicates there was artifact or issues with obtaining the EKG. Yet the posted EKG was of good quality and appropriate for interpretation. I mean, what kind of double talk is that? I filed a complaint June 15th. August 17th, I called the fire chief, and I left a message for the director of public safety. And then the 22nd, I finally got a letter dated the Tuesday, the day after I called. And this was the letter. You can have a copy if you wish. And now I just get a bill for this, which I'm going to dispute if I have to go to court. I mean, I don't know if you consider that performance or service substandard, but I do. I've attempted to call. I called the Director of Public Safety. I would like to have access to review the procedures they're supposed to follow that were written up by a doctor, the medical director, Aaron Burnett, out of Regions. I left a message for him 2 weeks ago. He's never got back to me. let's see, well, you can see I'm pretty upset about this. I feel that I'm getting a runaround on this. And in his letter, he never talks about the procedure. You know, I had a physical 10 days after that. And of course, I explained it to my doctor, and he had him do an EKG on me at Health Partners. And, you know, the first thing the nurse says is, take off your shirt. And it's like, I just want to see if that's in your procedures, you know. So I guess I'm waiting back for some calls here. But I've also already contacted the state board on emergency, the EMS procedures. And I don't know, personally, I think some corners were being cut, or and I think they're trying to cover it up now. So I guess I don't know, I'll take any questions.
Well, usually what happens when you do pose something, you know, at a open forum, it obviously now it's on the record, okay? You shared with it. If you want to leave us anything, you're welcome to do that. You can actually give it to our administrator on the way when you walk next to her there. She's in the red. And we'll make sure that our Director of Public Safety reaches out to you, and obviously the council will be part of that too, so we'll obviously see what's going on.
Well, I was here in June, and I signed up, and I wrote the reason I was here, and I guess the fire chief kind of intercepted me before I got to do my 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I was over there making out a complaint and explaining to him, and by the time I got back, you know, you had passed the public forum, so
Okay.
I wanted to get here this time in person, so.
Nope, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, and if you want to give it to Jennifer right there.
Okay.
All right. I didn't see anybody else that had signed up for open forum. If there is anybody in the audience, and I'm not seeing anybody in my chat room, so I will go ahead and close open forum, and we'll move to number 5, which is adoption of the agenda.
Motion to move the agenda.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Dennis, second by Councilmember Thiede. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next is 6 is presentations. We have one this evening. The presentation is for retirement for our Support Services Supervisor, Kathi Buss. And so I'm going to put my mask back on. And then Councilmember Olson, if you would do me a favor and grab Joe's microphone, and we'll have Kathi come in. And Council, if you want to join down front, if you're okay with that.
Kathi, if you want some of your family to come in too, they're welcome to. Mayor, when we start, I just have something I would like to, okay.
Wherever you want, if you can shoot. We're all masks. All
right, well, thank you, Mayor, Council. I did prepare just a short statement. Kathy's kind of already seen, when I sent out the email to staff, this is kind of a hard one to swallow. I've known for years that Kathi was looking forward to this day, but it was always kind of like, okay, next year. One more year, Kathi, you know, stay around, so. Just briefly, I'd like to read this. On September 30th, we'll say goodbye to our longest tenured employee. For me personally, Kathi Buss's retirement is bittersweet. We should all be sad to see her stellar Cottage Grove PD career come to an end. Kathi has helped our department serve our residents in countless ways, and she's always been a dependable, steady hand through thick and thin. But she is more than just an incredibly hard worker with a wealth of experience. Kathi has become a friend for life for many of us. So that's the bitter. The sweet part is she'll be enjoying more time with family, especially grandkids and friends, and she plans to travel a whole lot more, so Andy starts saving up. But with that, I'd like to turn it back over to the mayor and council. I know if I just kept talking about your career, Kathi, I'd babble on, but I've been here for 28 years of it, and I know Director Woolery's out there too, and he was a part of it for a long time too, so thank you, we'll pass it over.
All right. Ooh, he did say get it close. So before I read the plaque, I did want to kind of piggyback a little bit on what Pete said. I remember way back, I know I shouldn't say that, should I? Going up to the old City Hall and Public Safety Building and going downstairs when they were not kind enough to let me in and seeing you working the dispatch. And so what was really amazing when we had dispatch here in Cottage Grove was if you ever had an issue happening in this town, this was the voice you heard, and this was the calming voice you heard from people to get the help that they needed. And it wasn't even so much that they needed a GPS or anything. She would say, it's on the corner of this and this, and you go there, and they'll meet you out front. And so I remember sitting there and listening to you do some of the things that you were doing. So you were absolutely amazing. And so the citizens of Cottage Grove, and I'll read this in a sec, like I said, but the citizens of Cottage Grove have been blessed to have you as an employee of the city and looking out for us in the role that you did. So I'm going to read it. It says, this plaque is presented to Kathi Buss, Support Services Supervisor. The mayor and the city council, but on behalf of the residents of Cottage Grove, would like to thank Kathi Buss for 40 years of service with the Cottage Grove Police Department. In 1980, when she accepted the role as a part-time police and fire dispatcher, little did she know that it would in turn into a lifetime of tremendous achievements, both professionally and for the city. Such achievements include supervising dispatch operations, managing the Cottage Grove PD's records unit, leading the transition to a new records management system with Washington County, and becoming the head of the entire support systems team. Through it all, Kathi has remained hardworking, reliable, and ethical. She has certainly been a tremendous part of Cottage Grove's Public Safety Department's success. Thank you, Kathi Buss, for all you have done to help the Cottage Grove Police Department and the City of Cottage Grove grow and thrive. Presented this day is September 16th, 2020. There you go. Council, did you want to say something?
I'm going to go over here.
Okay, there you go.
I'm going to go over here so I can take my mask off. You know, I see our former Public Safety Director, Craig Woolery, here, which is appropriate because when I started as a Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Volunteer Commissioner in 2004, actually Mayor Bailey was a council member at that time, and he was our liaison to the commission. And former Chief Woolery was a captain for the police department, and he was our liaison. We went through a little bit of a challenge shortly after I started on the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Commission, in which we were transitioning from our dispatch being locally housed and run by Kathi Buss into the county's dispatch system that we use today. Pete talked about Kathi being able to spend some time with her family. And I can tell you that Kathi is fiercely protective of her family. She is the best friend you will ever have when she is on your side, and she is a formidable presence when she's not. What you don't know is that for 40 years, the city of Cottage Grove and its residents have been Kathi's family. She has done incredible things for this city in her career. And when we found out she was going to be finally moving into retirement, and before I finish, are you sure you don't have another year in you? Okay, all right, good. So when we did find out she was going to be moving into retirement, I actually reached out to Public Safety Director Kerner, and I said, boy, you know, for all the things she's done for our community, we should make her last day Kathi Buss Day in the city of Cottage Grove. Kathy's a very humble person, and Pete approached her with that as you know, a possibility. And I trust that the council and the staff would have been fully behind that. And Kathi didn't want it because she's so humble. She is the epitome of a great support person. She's a mentor to many in our public safety team, whether they wear the badge or they work behind the scenes. She has developed many of the processes and systems that are in place today that serve our department, our city, and its residents so well, so efficiently, so effectively, and she never seeks the spotlight for that. So today, for just a few minutes, we were able to convince her to come and receive this plaque, and I wanted to ensure that everybody watching this at home understands all that Kathi Buss has done for us and for our community. I've lived here for 40 years. She's been working for this community for 40 years. This community wouldn't be what it is today without Kathi Buss and the support of her family, who have enabled her to spend as much time, energy, and effort serving the citizens of Cottage Grove that she has. She'll be sorely missed. We certainly will never fill her shoes, and we're grateful for all that she's done. Thank you. You want to get a picture with your family? Okay, come on up, everybody. Let's get a big picture. We can get out of the way. You guys get a picture. Yep. You guys get a picture. Have somewhere with the camera.
You can tell with the squint of the eyes.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Kathi.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome to hang out for a meeting if you want.
It's pretty exciting, you know.
All right. She will be missed. I also remember, though, when we did decide to move the dispatch from Cottage Grove to Washington County, she was also a little mad. Just a little. So rightfully so, though. It was her baby. All right, next on our agenda is consent, which is number 7. Is there any items that council would like to pull from consent?
D.
Councilmember Thiede wants to pull D. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, Councilmember Thiede, D is LiveBarn agreement for live stream services at the Cottage Grove Ice Arena.
Yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and pull this as I was looking at it and being the liaison to the Cable Commission, you know, I was kind of thinking that, well, we've been talking over at the Cable Commission about doing more community videos and you know, even covering for the bulletin being gone, things like that. So I kind of asked a few questions on whether had been any discussion with the SWCTC, and there wasn't. And then I also, as I was going through the contract, I saw that the exclusivity, which I'm kind of sensitive to some of that sort of stuff in my years of looking at contracts and everything, and it was saying that it was 6 years that we had to go into this exclusivity contract, and even if we terminated the contract, you know, like, and there was a clause that said, you know, you got, you know, 90 days notice, things like that. Even if we terminated it, that exclusivity clause would survive through the whole 6 years. You know, and so that kind of got me, well, you know, it's, I'm not sure if that's so good. So a couple things that I did is I got, talked to Zach, and I had Zach and Mark Martinez of the SWCTC talk a little bit, and Lonnie of the Cable Commission got involved and so forth. And then I also had touched base with Corey Land, the attorney, just to make sure that I was reading that right. And so I got both Zach and Corey gonna kind of go over a little bit about what additional information that they found out about this, and so Zach, you want to start out?
Sure. Thank you, Councilman Thiede. So yeah, when we reviewed the LiveBarn contract, well, to begin, they are a live streaming company and they are in over 77 arena facilities in Minnesota and over 1,000 in North America. So pretty widespread. Just as Councilman Thiede, that was my primary concern, was that exclusivity portion. So it's a great program in that they bring all their tools and technology at no cost to the city. The city basically just gets revenue sharing off of the subscription fees that people pay to view the sporting events within the ice arena. So the advantage to us, especially with this COVID pandemic right now, is that we're going to be limiting the number of spectators in the facility. So each player can only bring 1 or 2 spectators with them. We're still determining what those final numbers are. But grandparents, friends, family, siblings can all watch from home or on their phone and live stream these events for the players they want to watch. So the exclusivity portion was of concern to us too. We did originally, before the contract that you have in front of you, we had some additional language that made sure that things like Fox Sports North, SWCTC, all those broadcasts did not interfere with this live streaming exclusivity in the contract. Councilman Thiede asked some more good questions, so we went back and talked to SWCTC and talked with some other arenas across the state and got additional information on how that might work, and Mark will be able to tell you a little bit more about their technology. And that was one of our concerns with the length of the contract. The 6-year contract was technology changes rapidly, and so things like this, what's a great investment today might not be a great investment 3 years down the road. So it was good to have those conversations. So I'll let Mark talk a little bit more about what their capabilities are and how he foresees the technology side of things. And then also our attorney Corey Land was able to talk with the CEO of LiveBarn and talk a little bit more about the exclusivity portion in the contract that's before you. And she was able to get that adjusted a little bit, so to handle some of the concerns from Councilman Thiede. So I'll turn it over to maybe Mark first to start, talk about the SWCTC's response.
Yes, thank you, Zach, and Mayor and council members. This is Mark Martinez, Executive Director of SWCTC, and Councilmember Thiede had brought this to our attention, and so I reached out, had the pleasure to talk with Zach and talk through some of the details. And this is a very exciting venture, and in looking at our capabilities, I anticipate that this would be, because we're not currently in this space of live streaming sports, we would need a significant amount of time to prototype this service. And so our main goal with any of our services that we provide is to meet and exceed our customer and stakeholder expectations. And so although this endeavor is an attractive one, we would of course want to do this the right way, and that would take a significant capital outlay, not only capital, but also an internal workflow adjustment and the potential of additional staff and or volunteers. So to meet Zach's timeline would be very difficult. We're looking at a 6 to 12 month spin up time just to prototype. And then again, we're getting into the realm of like how reliable is the service, so and working out all the bugs in the system. So for tonight, my recommendation is to move forward with the LiveBarn agreement because of our lengthy spin-up window and the potential for the commission to approve equipment costs and potentially increased payroll, the significant impact to our workflow and staffing plan, and then the lengthy curve toward reliability and the want to meet our stakeholder expectations. So unfortunately, it's not the right time for us right now, but it's something we could definitely work towards, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Mark at all? I guess not. Zach, you want to take it back over? Thanks, Mark.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And then our attorney was able to meet with the CEO, as I mentioned today. So there is a little revisement to the agreement that's in your packet. So I'll let Corey talk about that.
All right, Corey.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I did talked to the COO of LiveBarn today about the contract, and he explained the exclusivity clause is very near and dear to their heart. Because of the amount of infrastructure that they put into the facility and the expense that they incur at no cost to the city. It truly is all on their cost, and they solely hope to recover through the memberships that they obtain. And the city has very little cost sharing in it, as far as, like, we do get 30% of the proceeds from the memberships that we help them get, but otherwise, it's all on, they're hoping that it is super successful and they're able to recover the costs that they put into it. But in order to do that, they need to make sure that the city doesn't pull the plug on them in a 90-day notice and then say, thank you so much for your service, but Google offered us $100,000, so we're going to go with them. So that's why they had the exclusivity in there for that length of time. It's for them to have some cost recovery, as well as obviously to make some profit and some revenue on it. I was able to talk them off of a year of the contract, so it's a 5-year exclusivity that they were willing to do. In addition, we negotiated down the notice period. If they do have any kind of default or issue, that we can give them a 20-day notice instead of a 40-day notice. So, small concessions, yet truly concessions. And so that, I feel like, is probably the best deal that you're going to get from them. They do have contracts, as Zach said, all over the country, including with a lot of NHL teams who also have the exclusivity contract or portion in their contracts as well. So it feels like it's a fair deal, considering there's no outlay for the city at all. There's no expense for the city at all. It's just a benefit. So I think if this is the contract you choose to enter into, this is the deal you're going to get.
Yes, Councilmember Thiede?
And so you also mentioned, Corey, about, that's something new, actually. So it's we get 30% of only the customers that we personally bring in.
Yes, there'll be a code, so there'll be marketing in the arena. So as people come to the Cottage Grove Ice Arena, there'll be a code, and as they they sign up for their subscription, they enter that code, and then we get that 30% based on those customers. Obviously, yeah, it would be difficult for them to give us 30% of customers from all over the nation, the continent.
And so Zach, and you did talk to some other arenas and so forth that have this in place. And I think, again, there wasn't, from what you found out, there wasn't a whole lot of money, but then again, we're not investing, except for the time in the exclusive contract. Corey, you had gotten something about the time to cure. Is that just after they sign up for the contract or sign up for the services, a period of time before we would actually see revenue from that? Or what's the time to cure from 40 days to 20 days?
Yep, Your Honor, members of the council, the time to cure is if for some reason there's a glitch in their system, we require them to fix it, they don't fix it, we give them notice to cure. And so we were able to reduce that down from 40 days to 20 days.
I see, okay. All right. And then is there a certain period of time before, I didn't see it in our contract, but I think one of the people that you had talked to said that there's a certain amount of time before we actually get credited with any revenue.
Yeah, I don't see it in our contract, but yeah, some of the other arenas we talked to, well, some of the arenas have no revenue sharing. So it's evolved over time, so now they're actually starting to enter into revenue sharing contracts, so that's good for us.
Okay.
And who knows, 5 years from now, maybe this isn't as good of a deal as they're giving out in 5 years, but some had a delay. The first 120 days, they weren't giving out revenue sharing so that they could recoup their capital costs. But for us, I don't see that in the contracts.
Okay. And then one other thing, I did notice that when we looked at what the rate per month is for LiveBarn is like $14.95 a month.
Correct.
So, but anyway.
Okay. Zach, just real quick from me. So if they do this, if we approve this, they'll also do high school games? Or is this
Yes, they'll
just
do high school
amateur?
games as well. Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically all events.
Wow, that's
Okay,
pretty amazing.
sorry, yeah.
The only thing I've heard is some high school teams have requested, high school and college teams have requested, and especially NHL teams, to not film their practices for people stealing.
Yeah, that's true. I can see that. I suppose.
Information, so there's some blackout opportunities that we can work with that though, or they work with that, I should say.
Okay, sounds good. All right, any other questions on this topic? All right,
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate.
thank you.
Thank you.
Looking into that.
All right, thanks, Mark. So, seeing no other items were pulled for discussion or such on the consent. Okay.
Consent.
All right, so we have a motion to approve consent by Councilmember Thiede,
Second.
second by Councilmember Mills. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. So if you're here for anything that's on tonight's consent calendar, all of those items have been approved. Moving to 8, which is approved disbursement. 8A is to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
We have a motion by Councilmember Dennis.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Olson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Next is public hearings. We have 2 this evening. The first one is Northwick Park Vacation and Discontinuance of Permanent Drainage and Utility Easement. And Ben Boyk is going to take us through this one.
All right, well,
you,
good
Ben.
evening, Mayor, Council. So tonight, a couple requests on this item. One is to hold a public hearing to consider the vacation and discontinuance of a public drainage utility easement at 9260 Military Road. And the second is to adopt Resolution 2119, approving the vacation and discontinuance of the easement. So pretty straightforward. The easement's highlighted in yellow on the picture here. This easement was established as part of the Parkview Point development to the east to serve a development at the time on the Northwick Park property. That development has changed and was recently approved as the Northwick Park development. So that easement was no longer needed based on the infrastructure with that Northwick Park development. So based on that, it is required to hold a public hearing, and we're looking for, again, approval of that vacation of that easement.
Okay.
Stand for questions.
Council, any questions at all? All right, be official. We will go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anybody, and I'm looking on chat here, I don't see anybody there either, but is there anybody that wants to speak on this item? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing, and council look for a motion.
Mayor, I'll move to adopt Resolution 2020-2119, approving the vacation and discontinuance of the drainage and utility easement as described in the Washington County document number 420132, and authorize the city clerk to prepare a notice to be presented to the Washington County Auditor.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Mills, second by Councilmember Olson, I believe. All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is B, which is Zywiec's The Haunting Experience, a special event and temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license. And Ben has also taken us through this one.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 2 items tonight. One is to authorize the issuance of a special event permit for the haunting experience. And 2 is to authorize issuance of a temporary liquor license to Spiral Brewery, who will be sponsoring a beer garden at the event on the dates of October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So in terms of proposed activities, going to be very similar to years past. However, the applicant is including some measures for COVID-19, that being hand washing stations, social distancing measures, mask wearing, etc. The activities, again, very similar to years past: haunted house, hay rides, live music on both Fridays and Saturdays, and a bonfire nightly. In terms of dates and hours of operation, the applicant is proposing to operate from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and that will start September 25th and go through October, that being October 31st. In addition, the applicant is proposing to operate on 3 Thursdays, October 15th, 22nd, and 29th, from 7 to 10, and also on 1 Sunday, October 25th, from 7 to 10 p.m. In terms of emergency preparedness plans, so the applicant will be following their own COVID-19 plan with, again, some of the measures I mentioned, following CDC and MDH guidelines. The city does follow the governor's executive order, which currently states that all outdoor events and entertainment settings cannot exceed 250 people. And finally, the city does have the option to cancel the event if there is a public safety concern down the road. In terms of food sales, the applicant will be serving hot dogs, brats, pork chops, mini donuts, nachos, and popcorn, so all the fun food snacks there, which does require to be appropriately licensed by either Washington County or the state of Minnesota. So that is included. They're also proposing that any tents over 120 square feet does require a building permit, so that's noted as well as electrical permit if electricity is needed. And we do require that the fire marshal and building official conduct a site inspection prior to the event. Noise, mentioned live music, so the applicant is proposing amplified sound. So staff is recommending conditional approval in the memo to end the music by 10 p.m. to meet our noise ordinance, which the applicant has stated they have no issue with. Alcohol sales, as mentioned, Spiral Brewery has applied for a temporary on-sale liquor license for October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. No concerns with the Public Safety Department for the issuance of that application. And the license holder will obviously be required to obtain proof of age for purchasing and consuming liquor in the beer garden. Finally, I believe parking and security, so public safety is requiring that all parking be on site, obviously prohibiting parking along Highway 61. Required fire lanes be maintained at all times, and the applicant will be responsible for on-site security. So with that, recommending that council hold the public hearing and authorize both the special event permit and the temporary liquor license. And the applicant, Mr. Bill Zywiec, is in attendance too, should there be any questions. So I'll stand for questions.
All right, council, first, any questions for staff at this point? Yes, Councilmember Olson.
Not really any questions. I just wanted to, first of all, say thanks to Bill and his family for all that they do for the community. I had an opportunity to pop down to Zywiec's here a few weeks ago when they did their Fisher House ribs and corn grilling, which is a fundraiser that they do each year for Fisher House, which is, I guess in very simple terms, it's like a Ronald McDonald House, but for military families. And it's a terrific fundraiser, and I had a chance to chat with Bill briefly while we were there about the haunting experience. I know it's probably going to be a little bit more challenging this year than any other year that he's had to do it, but it sounded like there was a really good plan in place. And for those of you who have been to the event in the past, you know, our Cottage Grove Lions Club in the past has also served as a provider of, you know, beer and you know, trying to keep people in a good mood while they're down there. This year, our Lions won't be able to perform that, but Bill's been very generous in offering to make a contribution to the Lions in lieu of the fact that we won't be selling beer. But Spiral Brewery has also been working down there for a while now, and they do a great job. And Bill and his team have things very well organized, very well planned. I have every confidence that they will be as successful as they possibly can be this year with this event. And so I would encourage council to approve both the special event permit and the temporary liquor license. They've got a great history down there at Zywiec's, and I'm excited to see that they're going to try to do that again this year.
All right, thank you. Any other questions council-wise? All right. Bill, did you want to talk at all, or?
No, that's good.
All right.
Yeah, just, we're taking every precaution.
I figured you would.
As fast as we can. We've been kind of going night and day on it. You know, social distancing, mandatory masking, wash stations, you know, sanitation stations, all that type of thing, so.
Okay.
And plus we're doing things more outside in the open air, with the social distancing, so.
All right, so then what I'll do at this point is I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this item? I don't see anybody here other than Bill just spoke. And I don't see anybody in our chat room. Anybody at all? All right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we've got two separate motions before us, so if somebody, council wants to take the first motion.
Mayor, I'll move that we authorize issuance of a special event permit to Zywiec's Landscape and Garden Center contingent upon conditions outlined in the memo from Public Safety Director Kerner and Community Development Director Boyk, dated September 9, 2020, and all applicable state and local statutes.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Olson,
Second.
second by Councilmember Thiede. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have the second one.
I can make motion, Mayor, that we authorize issuance of a temporary liquor license to Spiral Brewery, who will be sponsoring the beer garden at the event on October 22nd, 3rd, and 24th, 2020.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Dennis,
Second.
second by Councilmember Mills. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll see you down there. It'll be a fun one this year. Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is 10 is bid awards. There are none this evening. 11 is regular agenda. There are none, or nothing on our regular agenda this evening. 12 is council comments request. I'll start with Councilmember Mills.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one announcement and a reminder that I brought up 2 weeks ago, but coming up on September 27th, the Myers Thrivent team is partnering and putting together a fundraiser for the Friends in Need food shelf. And so on September 27th, there'll be a live event happening on either YouTube or Facebook, and it's going to be Dwayne Tannehill and Quartet for a virtual fall fundraiser. And just as a reminder that normally in the fall, we have a big fundraiser for the Friends in Need food shelf. And so this is one of the ways to help bring some donations to Friends in Need. There are different ways to participate. Just by signing up, you are actually donating money to the Friends in Need food shelf. And if you like the Myers Thrivent page, you also give another $2. So you can actually just donate it's not $7 of your own, but $7 will be donated just by participating. So it's a great way, even if you don't have the funds to participate right now, that you can go ahead and participate in that way. And if you do have the funds and you can donate, they will have opportunities to donate through that. So Friends in Need is a great partner here in the community and helping a lot of folks that are in need. And so it's a great way for all of us to come together and partner with that. So Sunday, September 27th, 7 p.m., you can join for the virtual concert that will be happening, and hope to see as many as possible on that virtual event. If you need more information, you can contact me or go to the Thrivent Facebook page, or one of the council members. We can help get information to you. So that's it.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Councilmember Mills, I'll just interject in there. You know, at this point, we don't yet know if the holiday train is going to be here yet. It may not, but that is a huge fundraiser for them. And so if it doesn't end up coming due to COVID, they're going to have a pretty big hole to dig out of, since obviously all these nonprofits, I'll be talking about one here in a little bit again, that really need our support. And obviously the Friends in Need food shelf, this is just another easy way for a lot of money to be raised without you actually using your money. If you want to add more, you can. But I just wanted to throw that in there because they could really use our help and support for those that are able to afford it.
Absolutely.
So,
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Dennis.
All right, well, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to call my partner, Public Safety Director Pete Kerner, to come up, and he's going to help me with a couple things here. The very first item that I would like to talk about is asking for the public's help in ensuring that we are protecting not only each other, but our businesses here in the community. Right now, we have an emergency order that requires the wearing of masks inside of businesses. And so the state has been going out and inspecting, and there have been some companies that have been held liable. And actually, companies can be fined all the way up to $25,000 when there are incidents found and documented that they're not following the procedures. So, Pete, if you wouldn't mind just giving your 2 cents in on this for us. Obviously, from an economic development standpoint, we work awfully hard here to bring business to our community, and we want everybody to be successful. And we understand that if folks lose their focus on this, and get caught doing so, that could be very detrimental from a financial standpoint, not only also factoring in, reputation of business, so on and so forth. So if you would be so kind just to give maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds of your thoughts.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. As far as state inspections, I don't believe we've had any in Cottage Grove. All of ours have been handled right now through the county's health department, but on a business side, you're exactly, we had a couple of complaints earlier about questions or employees weren't doing this or doing that. Our health department has come out right away and educated businesses, so we're pretty much at 100% compliance. Right at the beginning, there was a lot of questions and everything. I think the other group that we really need to just remind is our citizens and the customers that with businesses, they have these rules, they're following the rules. A lot of these businesses have 17-year-olds working at the store and they get challenged they're doing their job. So we just ask people, don't get it to that point where we need to get called. We're not, the police department, we're not out writing tickets for masks. However, if a business says, hey, this person needs to have their mask on, we don't want them in this, they're refusing to leave, then we will get involved. But fortunately, we haven't had that in Cottage Grove, but like Councilmember Dennis said, I know some surrounding communities have had some issues with that, so we don't want it to happen here. But, so we've been fortunate so far.
And again, just getting that level of respectful cooperation from the public to do that, because you're right, I mean, none of us asked for this. We didn't order it, but we have to comply in good faith in order to keep our businesses open. So that's a really important thing, and so we seek the community's help in that. The second thing I want to talk about is that there's been a little bit of an uptick that I'm seeing in some of the social media pages where crimes of opportunity are happening. And this could be things like people rummaging through vehicles that are left open at night, garage doors left open and having contents taken off the property, all kinds of different things. So again, if, we've spent time talking about this in the past, and we like to bring this forward as a positive reminder to the community to let them know what they can do to protect themselves and not invite crime to the area. So if you could, again, maybe take 20 or 30 seconds just to give some of your thoughts professionally.
Sure. I think about every 6 months, a year, this kind of pops up again, that we always want to send out those reminders about target hardening, these crimes of opportunity. We have way more people using parks. I know recently there was a couple incidents in our Ravine Park here where people had valuables just left on the front seat and people had broken out windows. In Cottage Grove, with the thefts from motor vehicles, when people go, it's pretty rare that anyone actually breaks a window. Generally, it's they left their doors unlocked or windows down. So yeah, perfect time now to remind people. It's getting darker earlier. There's still people out walking around. So let's not give people those opportunities, and don't be a victim to a crime because you left your doors unlocked or left something out. And yeah, that garage door one's a great example. Check it before you go to bed, because at night people, seem to walk in. It's just an easy crime of opportunity for people. So
Well,
good reminders.
if we go back to our training from years ago, one of the things that criminals dislike the most is the element of extended time. So when we make sure things are closed and locked and secured, what that does is that increases the time they would have to be there. They don't want to be seen. They want to get in and out quickly.
Or make noise.
Or make noise. So it's really important that we do those things, again, as a helpful, notice and reminder to the community. And then the last point that I want to make, and I called you here a couple nights ago and you and I chatted. Many folks might be aware that we had a very unfortunate thing happen in the community where a plane went down and some people ended up perishing in that. And so I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of our responders, not only here within our own public safety department, but also those who came in and helped us, other partnering agencies, Washington County, Hennepin County, St. Paul, I think, had some people out. But, the thing is, we do work together, and those folks provide a great service. And we're always very, very grateful here as a council team and citizens of the community for the work that everyone does. So as I like to do, as we like to do, please make sure you convey our appreciation to all the rank and file and all the members of our team that do a great job.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you, Pete. All right, Mayor, thank you. I'm good.
Thank you. Councilmember Thiede?
I guess I'll just mention one thing that to kind of key on the crime deal. I would have never thought that well, I didn't know this till just recently, but my son has a Toyota Prius. And the other night, Tuesday night, I think it was, sitting in the driveway, and he gets up in the morning, and it turns out that it sounded like a Harley. And somebody actually overnight came and was sitting in the driveway and took the catalytic converter. And I've since found out that that's a pretty common thing, so I'm just kind of, anybody that's got a Prius, especially probably a later model, just be really wary of it, because I was told that they gotten so good at doing that they come in, it takes them a minute to just get under there and take that catalytic converter off, and then they take it somewhere and get $100 for it, and costs $950 to replace it. But just kind of a heads up, I guess, of anybody that's got Priuses, because there was a bunch of other cars, and I guess they don't really didn't really bother those. So anyway,
That it? Okay. Councilmember Olson?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm excited for the Dwayne Tannehill concert on the 27th. The mayor and I attend All Saints Lutheran Church here, as does Mr. Tannehill, and we've been graced with his talent on many, many occasions at church. And let me tell you, if you want to hear some great music, log into that fundraiser on the 27th, because Mr. Tannehill and his group do a phenomenal job. This evening, I wanted to take a few minutes to piggyback on the retirement ceremony we had earlier for Kathi Buss, who will still be working for the city of Cottage Grove for another couple of weeks, and mention that we had another retirement recently in our public safety department, and that was Detective Dave Clausen. Dave worked for the city of Cottage Grove for 25 years in a variety of capacities, but he worked as a police officer paramedic for many years, and most recently was working in our investigations team as a detective. Dave is another one who is not an attention seeker. He's a very humble person, does not like the spotlight, but keeps his head down and does his job very well each and every day, and had a very good reputation in the department for his work ethic, his quality of work, good partner, somebody who served as a good mentor to many of our younger officers, and we've got plenty of them in the city of Cottage Grove recently, because we've had a number of retirements over the last 3-4 years where we've lost significant tenure in our department. So I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Dave and thank him for his contribution during the course of his career as a public safety professional in the city of Cottage Grove. And I wish him well, as I'm sure the rest of the city council does, in his retirement. He's definitely earned an opportunity to kind of slow things down a little bit, and we're grateful for his service. I also wanted to mention that on the 28th of September, the Cottage Grove Area Chamber of Commerce will be holding their annual Chamber Golf Classic. That will be held at River Oaks. It will run from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. There will be, a shotgun start, and then there will be lunch served after the tournament concludes. There will be a lot of fun prizes, some really great camaraderie with our business community. Obviously, River Oaks Golf Course, we all know, does a marvelous job of putting on tournaments and taking great care of the patrons of the golf course, those who, either want to come and spend some time just working on their game on the driving range or on the putting green, or playing 18 holes. I will be playing in this tournament along with the mayor and Senator Bigham, and I think we're going to twist Councilmember Thiedi's arm to be our fourth on that date. So I would encourage anybody who's interested in supporting the Chamber Scholarship Fund, which is where this money goes. It will fund 4 scholarships that the Chamber hands out every year for high school students who desire to take advantage of the opportunity to go into post-secondary education. Please reach out to the Cottage Grove Area Chamber of Commerce. The director is Lori Levine. There's information on their website. Councilmember Dennis is a member of the chamber and also serves as the liaison to the chamber from our council, so you could certainly reach out to him or any one of your council members or city staff to get connected. But, you know, the golf course is in great shape, and our weather has been perfect, so this should be a fun time. I think we're also going to have a city team, so there might be a little healthy competition between the electeds and the city team, but we'll see how that plays out. And then finally, I just wanted to also thank the League of Women Voters for putting on the candidate forum that Mayor Bailey and Councilmember Mills and myself were able to participate in last week. Early voting in the state of Minnesota starts this Friday, the 18th. If you want to check to see if you're registered to vote, you can do so through Minnesota Votes, mnvotes.org. You can also early vote at the county service center here in Cottage Grove, which is adjacent, just down the road a piece to our building. But that League of Women Voters Forum was a really great opportunity for voters to get informed about their local candidates. And that forum included state Senate candidates, it included candidates for the state House, it included city council and mayoral candidates. So I would encourage you to log into the SWCTC website, swctc.org, and there's a big old button that says 2020 election coverage. And when you hit that button, it will take you to a menu of options, and you can watch any or all of the various candidate forums that were put on by the League. And we're very grateful for SWCTC and the League of Women Voters for doing that this year in a very unusual year for that sort of thing. And that's all I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. So I had two items, well, actually, I guess three real quick. You're speaking of the golf course, and I did want to bring up that this coming weekend, the 18th and 19th, and then also on September 25th and 26th, the golf course is actually going to do glow golf from 7:30 to 9:30 at night. Literally lit golf balls or glowing golf balls. So if anybody's interested in that, check it out and contact the golf course for directions and tee times to play a little fun in the night. So, and again, that's this weekend, the 18th and 19th, and again on the 25th and 26th. Two other items, one real quick. I have also, it's funny because Councilmember Dennis brought up, and I think even Councilmember Olson brought up, social media. And there's been a lot of information or questions out there when we put a video out, or I put a video out with the help of Scott regarding the PFC settlement, or the money that the city of Cottage Grove may get as part of option 1, 2, or 3, and our preference or our preferred option is number 2. And there's been a lot of questions from different parts of our community regarding what does that mean for this person or that person or so on. And so what I did want to do just real quick is just mention what this process is that we've been going through for many, many, many years, actually. But the current process, there's 3 different plans, and all the different plans have various levels of funding and processes to treat our water, I guess is the best way to put it. So for the city of Cottage Grove, what we're looking at is we currently, I just want to say this very clearly, we have 3 temporary treatment facilities currently working in our city. And that means that all the water that is currently coming out of your faucets, if you're hooked up to municipal water in the city of Cottage Grove, is safe to drink, no issues. What we're looking at doing, though, is a permanent solution. And the permanent solution is what is being offered to us through this agreement. And there's different types of levels and such, which is what when we talk about option 1, 2, or 3, our preferred option is option 2. But I also wanted to share with you, in the city of Cottage Grove right now, we had some pre-things done prior to even getting this permanent solution process starting next year. We are bringing city water out to the River Acres neighborhood. We are bringing city water to a neighborhood that's off of 70th Street called Granada neighborhood. And what we are going to do as a city is we will continue to look at different options that make sense, I guess is probably the best way to put it, about bringing additional water with with approvals, obviously from the state of Minnesota, to different areas of our community. I've heard from some people down in, I believe it's the Pine Coulee neighborhood. I've heard from some people out in Old Cottage Grove. Different people are asking questions about us. At the same time, if you have concerns about your water, you can reach out to one of us or the city, and we'll make sure, you know, if you're on a private well or whatever, but we'll make sure that your information, we'll get you the information to possibly have your water tested if necessary. And if it does test that it's, and has been tested and it's above what we'll call the health-based value, then the requirement is that the state will provide you with either bottled water or water treatment system, in-house treatment system. What we've preferred going forward is the more neighborhoods that we can, and groups of houses that we can group together, we are obviously working to do that because we think that's the most long-term viable solution, economical solution, and so that's really the thing that this council has been very much in favor of. So if there is questions, though, you're welcome to call City Hall, and then we will also get you in touch with anybody that's regarding this with the state of Minnesota. The reason I bring this up is that as part of all three of these settlement agreement, or three of these plans, there is money being put aside, if you will, to do different projects. So other than guaranteeing that we're going to have permanent water treatment facilities built in Cottage Grove, there will be an opportunity for us to get into, make request of a separate fund that will also provide water treatment or city water, if necessary, to certain areas of our community, if it is economically feasible to do so. And that's where the next phase, once we kind of get through this, and one, we finally get River Acres 100% done in Granada, but then two, obviously get our process going. But at the same time, we'll be looking at some other additional options. So I just wanted to bring that up there. Our next phase right now, though, is we are in a 45-day process where each cities and citizens, whatever, can make comment about the different plans. And if you have any questions on that, you can go to the city's website. You can get the links to the city or to the state and look at those plans. And then after the 45 days, then the decisions will be made of A, B, or 1, 2, or 3, or A, B, and C. Right now, I believe the groups have been, or the state has been recommending A. It's good, A is fine. We prefer B. It brings the health-based value level down a little bit further, and we prefer the safer the better. And I found out, I guess, recently Woodbury also supports that. So I think, you know, with the two major cities as part of this, and then I know I believe at the next meeting, there will be a presentation for the council to make a recommendation of which direction the council wants to go on those different plans. So I just wanted to mention that to the rest of the council here. So that's that. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And then lastly, we were talking about volunteer banquet or volunteer thing. So I've had the honor to be the president of the Youth Service Bureau. And for those that are not maybe keenly aware of what the Youth Service Bureau does, the Youth Service Bureau is a nonprofit group of counselors and that deal with families in crisis, kids in crisis, everything from chemical dependency to, you know, kids that might be suicidal and so on. And just like everybody else, we normally would have a gala or an event that is happening in person, but because of COVID this year, we are not having that event. But what we are doing is an online gala. And the online gala, which gives the opportunity to donate directly to the Youth Service Bureau or to bid on items, which there's some pretty cool items out there. That is actually this coming Friday. And that starts at 7 o'clock. And honestly, the actual live stream of it starts at 7. It goes to about 7:30. We'll have guest speakers that are going to be on there. I will be helping MC it, kind of live, and so it'll be kind of fun. If you were at the event last year, I'm looking at Larray, Councilmember Mills, is probably laughing because I said a few funny things that got the whole room laughing. So they invited me back to do it again this year. So we'll see how that all goes. But that'll be about a half hour long. And then there'll be the opportunity for you to donate continually after that, or also to bid on projects or bid on items. Again, 100% of the proceeds go to benefit the Youth Service Bureau, and I will also share with you, there is a match. So there is a group, a company that is going to be matching dollar for dollar up to a certain dollar amount. It's fairly significant for all the donations that do come in on that Friday night. So if you're interested, I believe it's also going to be on our local cable access. So all of the cable channels for all of South Washington County are all going to be doing this live, as well as our own here. We're great to have that happen. Other than some will be taped and then the MC thing, I'm going to feel like for those that are not too, well, I guess the older ones of us, the Jerry Lewis telethon thing, that's what I'm going to feel like a little bit on Friday. But if you want to check out what the items are that are being auctioned or donate to the YSB, all you have to do is text to the number 243-725, and your message content just needs to say YSB Gala 2020. That's it. And then you're linked up. You can set yourself up in there. You can take a look at all the auction items, and it'll even tell you if you bid on something and you want it, it'll even let you put a limit on how much you want to spend. It'll also tell you if somebody else outbids you. So it's kind of a fun thing. It's new, and a lot of charities are doing this now. And so I encourage everybody to support the YSB, as we want to also support the Friends in Need Food Shelf. So that is it. Thank you all for that, and I hope we have a very successful event. Next on our agenda this evening is a workshop open to the public. There is none. Same with 14, which is a workshop closed to the public. There are none this evening. So we're on to 15, which is adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion by Councilmember Olson.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Thiede. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.